lives down the road, and she's traveling. She's over in Mount Shasta. I'm going to tag you. I'll tag you on it so it'll show up on your page.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I told her, I said, hey, I don't have a show. I'm not going to be going on for an hour and a half. So I'll go over to your house, and, a tree fell down in her backyard and it crashed through the fence. Came right out. And then I was getting ready and I saw a message, from my phone. I said, no, you got a show. So I was halfway through my morning routine. So I'm only half on planet.
Well, did you see my post on my page? I was like, why does today feel like Saturday? I can't do calendar and work days and weekend. I can't do that anymore. Like I am just not there. That's why my whole life stuff that's important, it's on my calendar scheduled, and I have to get notifications. Otherwise I'm a la la land.
Yeah. And list, I have to write every single thing down,
Yeah. I have a notebook journal I carry with me at all times. Yeah.
All right.
I can't do this time-space continuum anymore.
It's getting real. I'll tell you that. I think
you've seen the Schumann's resonance the past few days. Like it's every day now. I mean, not just a spike. It's a big fat chunk of the day. We're being bombarded with energy, and it's it's a roller coaster.
You want me to do it on your page or your public page?
Do it on my profile.
Okay.
Because I've got like 5,000 friends. More people will see it. Okay. Facebook's going to block it, but anyway.
Let's see.
And I would
going to block what?
Oh, me. Oh, Facebook is constantly taking my posts down. So is Instagram.
Is that
because
right?
of what I do, what I talk about. Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Well, let's talk
sex,
about
honey. Sex and orgasm and pleasure and how it's your birthright.
Are they blocking those types of posts about sex?
Oh my God. Okay. So January 20th. And I only mentioned that because that was inauguration date, right? So that was a big change and shift in things, right? So January 20th, I wake up to this notification from Instagram that one of my posts violated their community guidelines, and it was taken down. And so when I reviewed it, what it was from November of 2019, when I was doing a promo for my show, SacredSex with Trish. And the topic was the heart genitals connection, because there is a separate connection. It bypasses the other chakras. It's a circular circuit between the genitals and the heart. And it apparently talking about love-based sex went against their guidelines. But what made me so mad, frustrated, and really annoyed was that part of the reasoning is that any type of talk about sexuality, sexual education, and they even mention specifically tantric, anything tantric is lumped into pornography. And the specific charge against me was adult sexual solicitation.
Well, let's solicitate.
Like,
let's solicitate.
Let's solicitate, honey. Oh my God.
We're going to make up words.
But this is all the time.
Yeah.
This is all the time for me because of what I do, but I'm not going to stop what I do, because sensuality is an integral part of my blueprint, who I am as a soul, as a twin flame. And, I have a certain energetics for that. And then sensuality is who I am. And that's why many lifetimes I've been drawn to Tantra, drawn to healing and magic. So I've spent many lifetimes as a witch. And so it's just like, yeah, y'all can't burn me this time. Nah. So,
That's right.
Whatever. I'm not stopping. It's a soul mission,
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I woke up this morning and had a couple of messages, conversations I didn't want to have. I was off planet. But it's that same old shit. Just, they say in Texas, how's it going? Same old thing, bigger, same old shit, bigger stick to stir it with, right? But they're like, oh, have you seen the people arguing? And I'm like, I don't know where everybody's at, but I know one thing. I don't have time but to stay in my own lane. I'm not even trying to figure it out. Schumann, dude, I mean, I know that stuff's out there. You don't even have to see it.
Right.
And it's like, whatever's happening is going to turn everything upside down. So this little bullshit minutia with the mask and
I was just saying that.
You know,
I was
I'm just saying,
saying
all
that.
that's going to go away. All the points of contention are going to go away.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be such a blast on you, in your face. And actually, it's a beautiful thing. It's just the resistance we have as humans because we think we're human and we have dominion over all things, and we're the smartest, you know, in the whole realm, right? When the reality is we are, but not like we think we are. We got to let go of all the control and just roll. Yeah.
You know, it's like when I get done with this, and this is why I can't stay on for 8 hours this time. But but my landlord is coming over to do an inspection of my apartment because the lease is up at the end of the month, and I'm ready to get back on the road. The first place I'm going is Sedona, and so it's just like
Sedona.
Just whenever, you know, like I said, my lease is up here, so I figure, okay, maybe I'll stay here, but I could be in Sedona anytime, which I'll got going.
We got the Soulogy Fest going. What are you talking about?
Woo! Oh, when is that in May or June?
May. When's your thing? Oh, your deal's up in June, into May.
Well, see, that's one of the things we're going to be talking about. But that was my point, is that in talking about like what he's concerned with is that I leave the apartment nice, that he doesn't have to do too much work before he rents it to the next person. He, you know, and he's a very nice man. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just in this. When is the power going to be turned over in his name? You know, and I'm just like, this is such small shit. This is such small potatoes about what's going on, and just such small thinking, you know. And here we are working on a 5D level or even a galactic level if you're at that part of your journey. And it's just like, and you want to know how many thumbtacks I put in the wall?
But see, I think
so small.
But I think that there's a lot of that going on where you're in your 5D field. You're familiar enough with it now. You're comfortable with it. You've owned it, and you're right. I was a witch. What are you going to do? What are you going to do to me? Nothing. I know the game now. It's over. And then you have this very benign 3D, you know, interactions that you have to go dipping in and out of until they're not there anymore, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I think that's happening to a lot of people.
Yeah, no, I wasn't sure exactly when your Soulogy Fest, Soul Fest. I couldn't remember
Soulogy Fest.
What to look up. Soulogy Fest.
Soulogy Fest. That's okay.
Yeah, there's another festival I was looking at, but it's like in the middle of May, and that's in Dolan Springs, Arizona. So I know I can't do that one, but let's talk about that. If you know, I would love to be a part of it. However, virtual, whatever, in person. But no, my first place I'm going is Sedona. Yeah, when I leave. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to be there on the 12th, so I'm going to be there in 8 days. I think something like that.
Oh, wow.
We have an event on the 14th at a place, and I can't remember the name of it. But we're going to have.
Is that with Kalina? Is that with Kalina?
No, that's Kalina's going to be there. It's on the 14th. It's at a place, and I can't remember the name of it. But I think it's a really big yoga studio in West Sedona. So we're going to get together with Vibrational Empowerment Network, and we go from 6 to 11. We're going to just do a little soul gathering, you know, music, you know, commentary, rap, song, dance, whatever. And
you know, that's what's so funny is that I'm ready to go now. Like, I am really ready to just go now. Like, other than the fact that I need to put what I have left of my physical belongings, I need to put that in storage unit for a few months while I'm back on the road. But other than that, like, I'm ready to go because I am feeling this. It's time to go. It's time to go. It's time to go on all levels. It's movement. It's forward movement. It's not back, not going to the past. No, because you've done your work. It's for, and I'm feeling that. I'm feeling like, okay, let's go. Like, you know, if I had all this junk in storage right now, I'd get my dog and man, we'd be on the road to Sedona tomorrow. You know, it's just, and that's how ready I feel. And I know a lot of people are not there yet, but they're feeling that change.
No, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people I know doing it. You know, and I don't know how many people that are doing it, but I'm laughing because all this time up until in the last 30 days, I think we've all said, and we thought we were right. I don't think we were now. We were ascending. We were black. You know, we were already airborne. I think we just blasted off. I think what's happening is we're blasting off, and there are those who are going now, and it's exactly what you're saying. It's in every single part of us. The movement, it's game on now.
I think February and March which were some of the most energetically, some of the most difficult months I've ever experienced. It was like, I didn't want to get out of bed. Every day was like slogging through sludge to just physically move. And in a way, it's almost as if, and it's twofold. It's like, one, the training wheels came off. Well, on Yule, so my winter solstice. And then we were kind of getting into this, the eclipses and whatever. And then February and March, it's like, oh my gosh, I really have to do this myself in a way. And you really felt the density of the physical. I think that's what I'm trying to say, because I'm trying to, I haven't articulated this yet. And so I really felt the density and how heavy it is. A couple of weeks, I'm a Libra, so I jump around. But about a week and a half ago, I had cleared my spirit guides. Like, I brought in new spirit guides, and I was walking from my car to the grocery store, and I literally don't know how this was animated. Like, I could feel I was still walking, but I could feel myself up out here. Like I could feel the puppet strings almost, and it's like, how am I still standing? And it's like, that's what I'm feeling more and more. And then I cleared those guides, and I'm calling in twin flame specific guides. I'm done with all this other stuff. Y'all don't know, y'all don't know exactly how I need help here, because, I need a lot of help. I'm an artist, but it's just this, I have felt the density of physicality in a way I've never felt before. Yeah.
Well, Morgan and I did it. We did it from mid-March we did it for about 3 weeks, 2.5, 3 weeks. We were here together. We were in solitude. We talked, but it was totally full court press on yourself. And we had a massive expansion off of that. We're still in the early parts of it like everybody else, but it's been amazing. And experiences like you're talking about, these experiences where your multidimensionality gets into the physicality, which, if you think about this whole solitude period, that was all our multidimensionality, all hands on deck, trying to find the right, way to navigate through it and get the gold from it, because it was very intense. You're right. You described it perfectly. Yeah. But I feel like going into, and a lot of people have forecasted this, Franco, Di Nicola, Jason Estes, there's a few others, and not all in the same exact, date pattern, but basically second half of May, it kicks off, and I don't think it's going to stop. I think by the end of the summer, some of these experiences like you had in the parking lot, or like Morgan and I have had, like the second night she was over there in quarantine, she felt me physically. Because Tantric and Hieros Gamos. So we've engaged in the ethers many, many times before she ever came over here, and always consciously together. But on that day, there was 3 episodes over about a 6-hour period. And on her end, it started with the physical, where it's always started with the, so things like that, like what happened to you in the parking lot. I think we're going to hear more and more about that type of stuff. And people are going to experience it together more and more.
Well, what's really cool about it is that when I felt the heaviness of my body, and my background again in the performing arts is that I started gymnastics and dance when I was 2. So I learned how to bounce up off the ground at a very young age. I've done whole shows where I did aerials and front handsprings and 4-inch heels, and I understand that physics of earth and up and back down and landing and plie to save the needs and all, and I understand that. And I love the earth and I love it. But this that I have felt, feeling this density, I'm like, there's no preparation for a jeté or whatever that's going to get you up out of this. And it's just been really stunning to me to feel just how heavy carrying this density is. It also makes me appreciate my body more, because my body's going through ascension too, right? We're going crystalline, right? We're having all these changes now to the cellular level, the atomic level, the DNA. And it's just like, wow, it just made me really, really appreciate the heaviness that my body is traversing right now in its change from carbon to crystalline, which not full crystalline this lifetime, obviously, but I mean, it was a cool thing. It was a cool experience. It was freaky in the moment, but it was just like, wow, when you really start to feel the different dimensions, and I've never felt them that starkly different. Like this is physical and this isn't. I haven't felt that before.
That's a great description. That was exactly what's been happening. And if you think about the shadow work, you know, the pointing work, that involved the mental, the emotional. I mean, the body was reacting, it was involved and somehow correlating with it. But you're right. The body's accelerated in this period, this last 30 days too.
And our pets too. Don't forget, our pets are going through this. I just want to throw that in there. But I think what was really cool about that experience is that I've had heartgasms. I love all kinds of gasms, right? And heartgasms where like you feel that and you can feel your heart beating out here. And you're just like, oh my God, I can feel my heartbeat out here. And it's just incredible. This was, and of course, an orgasm, like you could either bring the energy down in, which is fabulous, and you can bring the energy up and out. But that's always a process, and it's from here to there or there to here. You know, I've never felt the different dimensionalities at once like that experience in the parking lot before, and that was just, I don't know, it just kind of blew my mind. You know.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but I'm thinking about my body. My body's gone into turbo or something in the last 3 or 4 weeks. The communication lines are very clear. There's not like a debate, like, don't eat this, can I eat that? It's not like that. I can't, I cook a meal and I can't eat, nothing tastes right. I mean, I'm drinking a lot of water. I don't know. It's just, it's, it's moved fast.
Food allergies, like even like I'm from the South, it's so like fried foods. My face breaks out right here, but I guess because whatever the oil is that they're using, I'm so reactive. Peanut butter, root beer, it's just all these things. It's like, wait a minute, what's happening? And it's just you being very conscious and aware of these subtle changes. And I think that, there's so many reasons for the lockdowns or for the quarantine and the shutdown of last year, and it's still going on in some places. And it was so that people could concentrate their energy back to themselves and be still and go in hermit mode. So you could have these awarenesses and these experiences that you can't have when you're on your commute and got to get the kids to school and got to get the kids to soccer and ballet and blah, 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 and rush home and get takeout because Americans eat out 4 times per week. People are not cooking at home anymore. They don't know what they're eating, but they're constantly distracted by something and then numbing with one coping mechanism or another. That was a big part of why the shutdown was needed. And that's why so many people are now having their awakenings. Yeah.
I think at some point too, that regardless of what narratives are put out there, that this which is working in our lives and that we're connected to and communicating with and collaborating with in, creating the new us, the new earth, that's going to speak at a collective level at some point. At some point, God will speak, the goddess will speak. I mean, and I don't mean literally, but I mean, that energy is so obvious in you and in the people that have been coming on this show for the last 2 to 3 weeks, right on the tail end of whatever that was on or around the equinox, whatever that buildup was. And the thing that's so amazing about these last 2 or 3 weeks doing these shows is that they're all showing up pretty much 100% human. Like this show's been about the multidimensionality. It's been about share us your gifts and skills and abilities. Tell us your story. What are your experiences? But this last 2 or 3 weeks, that's still coming in. It's a lot like your parking lot experience metaphorically, because the human, we're the last one on deck. You know what I mean? They're like, hey, about time. but we're on point now. I mean, we're on point. We're guiding this multi-dimensional oversoul team embodied in the human. And the evidence is becoming so large on every aspect of our experience with physical, mental, emotional, you know what I mean? And the body is the last one on deck in the physical. And I mean, it's on point. And it's I don't know. I don't think we'd go to light body in this lifetime, but at the same time, I think we could get to a point, certainly in my opinion, in months where you might have a choice or reach a level of mastery that you can say, do I want to live another 700 or 800 years on this earth and chill out for a while and make it happen?
Yeah. Oh, I just had so many thoughts run through my head.
I know. Well, that's in there too, Trish, right? All that, yeah. All those conversations are being had. It's not just higher self,
yes.
And so you're sitting here, you're right. I get it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But we have been in the trenches for so long. It's almost like, okay. And yes, there's still work to do, but it's almost like, okay, the humanity at large is waking up because of the shutdown, because of the quarantines. The UK was gone back, to a fourth complete shutdown. The vaccines, I don't know if we can say that word here. You're going to Facebook.
You can say it.
A lot of people are having these awakenings. And I think that we have been in the trenches for so long. We have been in the trenches our whole lifetime, whether we were actively, knowingly on this journey or not. Before, I've been a pagan witch my whole life and was forced to be Catholic. I think you were forced to be Catholic too. And so we knew that, okay, that's not right. But I think that because humanity's waking up, we don't have to fight as much, or at least not in the same way. And that's a big part of what feels different.
Yeah.
We're still in the trenches, but it's lightening up. It's like we can actually do the work we actually came here to do now. We're not up against all of the institutions that that were still in place when we were kids,
Yeah, it's like I've been saying, it's like we've all got this Forrest Gump bubble around us. And now individually, because I mean this unity consciousness is only going to come through individuality, through individual sovereignty. So we have this bubble and we've all kind of lit each other up and we see each other out there. And so we become impervious to all the bullshit. And so it's like the perfect guerrilla warfare. There's nothing they can do. There's two people. One person says, what do you do? Whatever you want. I was a witch. You burn me. I figured it out. But now there's 2 and 3 and 4. So there's a collective huge bubble it's just not going to be stopped. It's almost comical. And I know that sounds kind of rude because there's some, from a human perspective only, very horrific things. Well, we all got to remember we all came down here by choice. And that's from
twin flame divine feminines jumped in. We jumped in line. We took, that's why a lot of us were born into families where we didn't fit in, where we were the black sheep, where we, like everybody else gets along, but why don't I get in? Like I knew from the age of 7, I knew I hated my mother and I didn't know why. I did not know why. I mean, okay, yeah, physically abusive, whatever. And that escalated as I got older, but it was just like, why don't I fit in? And, but it's because divine feminines especially jumped in. Because we heard the call. It was like, we've got to be down there. Some divine masculines, I don't know if you're older than Morgan or not, but some divine masculines jumped in first. But for most of us, here in this lifetime, the feminines jumped in. And then the masculines were like, wait a minute. we have contracts we've got to do.
And that's been the cycle. And you're right. I never heard anybody say that. But if you look at it from that, from that perspective, which we certainly can, you guys jumped in with both feet. It's just like I've watched the cycles of it. I watched Morgan do it when she came in 2017. I mean, and she wasn't the only one. There was many of you now doing the same thing that you did to come in the first place. And I just saw another wave of that now. There was a sacred silent circle that they put together. Nothing was said. I mean, it spoke huge. There's been a lot of women, stepping up, being more vocal. And I think y'all just jumped in. I think this blast off occurred the same way that the rest of it occurred on the way. You know, it's just a spiral, and y'all jumped in again. And it's I think we're blasting off maybe tomorrow. It's 555. It's going to definitely be sometime soon. I can feel
the red eye flight. I'm going to get the red eye.
Christ.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing is that those of us who've been doing the work, and this is not against anybody else, but we're ready. Like, we're like, yeah, let's go. Let's do it now. Come on. Right. I'm like, like for real. Like, you know, if I could get this stuff in storage, I would be out of here tomorrow. You know, who knows? My landlord, when he comes over, he may say, okay, go ahead and get out. But, but you know, my lease is up, and I have felt that it's just like twiddling my thumbs, you know, and but I understand that this is there. I mean, there are big lessons in this situation for me, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to have this spiral re-experience so that I can really anchor in the lessons and be in a place at this time, in this situation, where I am okay. And before, when this happened in 2017, I wasn't okay. You know, when the universe or Kali said, okay, girl, you got to go, you know, and I had to leave really quickly, not of my own accord, and it was very scary. And I had to get on the road and wound up being homeless in Los Angeles. And it was living in my car.
You were homeless in Los Angeles?
Yeah,
I was homeless in Houston, but I've been to Los Angeles, and I you know, when you're from a place and you're homeless, that's I mean, I'd been there 20 years, so you know. But to be in Los Angeles, what part of Los Angeles were you homeless? Were you? I
was living out of my car, so I was wherever I could feel safe that night, and that changed every night. Walmart parking lot, Denny's parking lot, library parking lot if they didn't see me. Yeah, so I was homeless, living out of my car, and my car was my fortress. It was my, I mean, to be a woman homeless living under the like sleeping under the bushes, that's a whole other level of being homeless. But then my car was stolen. And so it was just like, okay,
well,
but that was
at least you weren't in it. At least you weren't in it. No, that's still though. I mean, that's still
Los Angeles is next level. Let me tell you, the whole experience. That's why it's had to. Oh, I would love to ask you about this, but you know, Los Angeles is a whole other kind of existence when it comes to people being miserable, people being angry and unhappy, people trying to be something that they're not. TV and film, music, you know, people trying to live their dreams, but in a place that is just so predatory. You know, that's why most people can't make it. But okay, so let me ask you this: have you ever heard about the how it was about 2018 where the dark kind of concentrated its forces along the 33rd parallel? Have you? I never heard of that.
Well, I never heard of that. Where is the 33rd parallel? I have heard of the name.
Well, interestingly, okay, so if you wake up between 3 and 4 in the morning on your spiritual awakening, that's very common for people going through their awakening. People who live between the 32nd and the 34th parallel. So then the 33rd parallel runs right through the United States, from LA through Houston, through the middle of Mississippi, and on across. And so I was just wondering if you'd ever heard of that. When I looked at the exact 33rd parallel, when I first heard that because of the work that it's been done, that because you know the number 33 is a sacred number, but it's been twisted by some people, right? Because they the non-virtuous shit gremlins, as I call them, the non-virtuous assholes were, I mean, like, they have anchored in their sovereignty and their ability to create change. They just create change to make themselves richer, more famous, and they do that through hurting other people, slavery, sex trafficking, child trafficking, you know, poverty, and that kind of things. So basically what this was is that we've been doing the work as a collective, and that the non-virtuous shit gremlins, they were concentrating their energy along the 33rd parallel.
This was in 2018? 2018?
Yeah, 2018. Yeah, that's when I heard it. That's when I heard it. And
I'm looking at the map right now. It's pretty.
Yeah,
trippy.
but look at it, and you see the 33rd parallel. You look at where it is. It's Los Angeles. It's Phoenix. My divine masculine's in Tempe, Arizona. So that's right next to Phoenix. And I was born in Jackson, Mississippi, which is in the middle of the state. And you can see the 33rd parallel right through that. So it's like, wow, we got placed here on purpose. But and a 33rd parallel is one line, but it's a space. It's not just that one. It's not like the Mason-Dixon line.
It's just like our energy. But that looks like my hood.
Yeah.
If I look at my life, that's pretty much it right there.
Okay. Well, I was just wondering if you'd ever heard that, because when I was re-looking at this recently, just kind of popped into my head. It's like the 33rd parallel. And so I was looking at that. But the thing is that the 33rd parallel also goes through Libya, Iraq, Afghanistan. It goes through parts of like the Middle East, Saudi Arabia. Then it goes through China and Japan. What countries do we keep hearing about in the past 100 years of world history? Let's say what keeps popping up? Libya, Iraq, the Middle East, Afghanistan, and then China and Japan, and then of course the United States. And then look at the depravity of LA, and and the other things that I don't know. I just thought it was really interesting. I just didn't know.
Wait a minute. It's very interesting. Okay.
And have you ever heard of the 10th gate?
Well, hang on. Let's stay with the 33rd parallel for a second, because somebody asked for the link, but I'm just going to put the picture up and show y'all. But the number, it's just hitting me because of the number. 33. Jacob's ladder.
Spine.
Yes, Jesus's age. I mean, it's a huge number, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if
33 degrees in Freemasonry, 33 vertebrae in the spine, the 33 dimensions.
Almost like it's some type of, I don't know. If I picture like a black hole, they say a black hole sucks energy in, right? And I wonder if
there's a lot of succubus energy, especially in LA.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, that's density. I mean, those big cities. I mean, I lived in Chicago, LA, Miami. I mean, those big cities. Houston, I'd take any day of the week, and it's not the safest place to go. but I'd much rather be in Houston but LA is very, very thick. In fact, well, I lived in New York, and I'd have to say in New York, there's something about New York where people kind of handle it's hard scrabble. They kind of like. They're on their stuff. LA is more to me like, I had offices in both places. And in LA, I would go over there and they wouldn't even start work. They'd work from like 9 to like 3. And then they'd take off at noon on Friday. 400 people. And I'm going, what? So there's a totally different makeup.
Yeah.
Oh, let me pull that up. Keep going.
Oh no, I was just wondering.
33rd parallel. So what is it to you? And then we'll talk about the 10th gate. What does it mean to you? What do you know about it?
Well, I try not to take in too much information, but I'm a Libra. I love information. What I found interesting is that it wasn't the 34th. It wasn't the 35th. It was the 33rd. And at the 33rd, because I'm a numerologist, so that it was the 33rd, and that the 33rd parallel just happens to have places like LA, which is a concentration of money and power in the United States. And then it goes through Libya, Iraq, Afghanistan, which, they have been fighting for thousands of years, which was why I brought up the whole 10th gate thing. And then China and Japan, China and Japan, they have been, if you know the story, if you know the history of China and Japan, Japan was highly influenced by China hundreds of years ago. And then they finally said, you know what, we want to create our own unique Japanese culture. And then they kind of blocked off or embargoed anything from China. And that's where you start to see a separation in the cultures and a separation in the music and the clothing and, the whole cultural thing. But, Japan was a big part of World War II. And because of Pearl Harbor, they're a big part of American history. And the POW camps. China is big, and China has been steadily buying up a lot of American businesses and American land so that it can be a bigger player here in the United States and in the American economy. And so I don't know, I just thought that was really interesting because, and it didn't really resonate. You know,
well, the
2018, it was just like, okay, the 33rd parallel, 33 is the master number of, it's the master teacher. And so what is it supposed to teach us? And I wasn't really thinking about it because I was homeless and really didn't care about, you know, the bigger, you know, I was just like, am I going to eat, you know, oh, 4 days without eating. Okay. 5th day, I guess I'm just not going to eat to get, you know, it's just like, there were other things that I was focused on. So, but this popped into my head the other day and I looked at the 33rd parallel on a map, which is a picture you're probably going to show. And it was just like, holy schnauzers. You know, when I looked at my life and where I was born in the middle of Mississippi, it's on that line, and where my masculine has been for years now. And we both lived in LA in 2017, 2018. And then to see all these other countries that have been making the news for 6,000 years. I don't know. I just thought it was interesting, and I just wanted to pick your brain because I can, because you're a captive audience right now.
Man, you're plugged in light worker. No, that's interesting. Now, what about the 10th? What'd you call it?
The 10th gate. Okay. So, and I'm going to go ahead and say this just for the reference of this. But when I had the first time I had sexual union with my divine masculine, that was a Kundalini awakening experience like I've never had before. And from that, I started having all these visions and dreams in the coming weeks and months after. And one of the things, and it's recently restarted again, but I had this vision. The visions were just so amazing. But I had this one vision where it was this profile of a golden eagle. And it wasn't, but it was looking at me. The golden eagle was looking at me. It was a profile and it was stylized. And I was just like, okay, well, I'm from Mississippi. Is that USM? You know, is that the Golden Eagles of the University of Southern Mississippi in Hattiesburg? But it wasn't quite like that. So it was like, okay, this is, I don't know what this is. So I Googled golden eagle, which is an actual type of eagle. And it wasn't that. And I said, golden eagle symbol. And when I Googled that, it brought up several different web pages, and one of them talked about, yep, there's the 33rd.
Really?
Look at all that. Yeah, look at all that. Where is Hotlanta? Atlanta's in there. Atlanta is, I don't know where it is exactly.
Can they see that? I don't know if they can see it.
I don't know. I can see it, but Atlanta is a hotbed of negative shit. But
that's another one. That's another one. Atlanta's got a yucky feel to me.
Yeah. Now, okay.
Oh yeah, they can see it. They can see it. Okay, yeah. So Atlanta, I don't know. Can you see my cursor? Probably not.
Yeah. But okay. So LA is not exactly on that. It's going more toward, I guess, San Diego or whatever. But
but it's still, like you said, it's
right, it's not a one line. It's like it's a anyway. Yeah. So when I looked up the golden eagle symbol, it brought up the golden eagle grid and the 10th gate, which is there are at least 10, maybe there are 11, but there are 10 major portals on the earth, major portals. And the other 9 have been taken care of, or they've been healed, or they've been sealed from all this non-virtuous shit coming in. But the 10th gate, like, they haven't been able to seal that. And where that 10th gate is over the Middle East. Now, at this point, I don't remember exactly where they said it was, but it's just like it's like it's a constant influx of dark, negative, non-virtuous stuff coming in, which explains why they've had just nothing but war and violence for thousands of years, and why it's so hard to get peace there. Because until the people in that, in my opinion, until the people in that area decide to stop killing each other over freaking religion and say, okay, can we just have peace? That's what's going to help seal that portal there. But anyway, so that's the 10th gate and the golden eagle grid, which I had never heard of. But it was just one of those things that when you're on your journey and you have these experiences and you're open to receiving the information, you know, you get the visions, you get the information, and you don't have to Google. You know, I hated that I Googled it. I should have waited.
Well, you have to Google it till you get totally confident. You know what I mean? But yeah.
Right.
But yeah, and there is a link there too. I've seen several pieces, you know, written and video over the years in regard to the gate or the Stargate that's in Iraq, and that's what these wars are all about, right? And if you look at the way that the world was when that started, you had Papa Bush, right? Okay, so that was the head guy, right? Yeah, and then from there, and you know, I mean, the proof's in the pudding. Look at it. I mean, I don't think they were going over there to do something good. So I don't know. There's a lot of stuff going on over there. We're being shown one thing, and that we all know this, but I don't even think we really get to what degree the difference is between what's been presented and what's actually gone on.
I don't trust anything I see anymore.
That's right. That's right. Question everything.
Yeah. And because, you know, even as a child, the stuff that was forced into my radar through religion and Southern culture, and be a little lady, and, you know, don't disrespect people, and don't talk back, and children are best seen, not heard. And, you know, when you talk with a man, don't disrespect him, and especially an older man. And if you disagree with a man, don't let him know. Just say that you have your own opinion, but you don't blatantly contradict him, you know, because that'll threaten his fragile masculinity. You know, and all of this stuff. I was like, what?
Did the grandmothers tell you that? That's some wisdom.
That was, you know, that's everywhere. That's especially, and that's what's so sad, that it comes from the females passing it down to the girls to create yet another generation of disempowered women who are afraid to speak up and speak their mind. You know, see, I'm all spiritual now, so I'm real calm. You should have seen me when I was fiery. Listen, that was,
you know, the biggest hell raisers. I'm not saying all of them, but many of them. And I don't just mean in their physical journey, their experience. I'm talking energetically, but many of them were, you know, they were hell raisers, party animals. You know, one thing about the light worker, or whatever you want to call it, personality, the sovereign soul personality, is it jumps in with both feet. Just like you were talking about the divine feminine jumping in with both feet, you know, from the oversoul field, right?
See, to get this thing started. Yeah, but see, I don't know if that's the light worker. I don't identify as much as a light worker as a shadow healer. I know I came here to kick shadow ass. But
shadow eater. That's what I call Morgan. She's a shadow eater.
Yeah, you know, firefighters are called smoke eaters. Yeah, it's because you jump in, you know, with your bunker gear, right? You jump in full force knowing that you're going in for the fight of your life, but it's for a good cause. And so, and of course, that's relative to the person. You know, anytime we put labels on stuff, we're limiting it.
That's why I said it's really a sovereign soul characteristic.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, but it's about like, again, my innate soul frequency is for pleasure. I'm not designed necessarily to be a warrior. I've had to take on warrior templates. You know, that's why I came in as Irish, you know, because I had to be ready. You know, I was, you know, the redheaded stepchild wherever I went, that I was always different, and I was always going to be different. I just never resonated the same with anything, anyone. You know, I don't even resonate the same with a lot of so-called light workers, especially if they're bypassing the work we're here to do.
Yeah,
you know,
through that, it's not about the name, it's about what you're doing. And that's what's happening too. Like the energy itself is speaking. A person doesn't have to be public or, you know, even known or anything. It could be in solitude, really. But I mean, people are taking that on, that same attitude that you have. That same, it's beyond attitude, it's beyond persona. It's natural. And you're right. I feel the same way. I love to laugh. I love to have a good time. I love pleasure. And every time I start to go into that narrative, although my body and the energies are not supporting certain things anymore. So, yeah, you know, you can either let go or be dragged, and I don't want to be dragged. But the point is, I always say to the team, look, you know, I'm down here kicking ass, but I'm not gonna, you know, I'm gonna have some fun on the way too.
Yes. You know? And you know, the thing is, I was thinking about this earlier, is that a lot of people think, oh, I'm having my awakening, I can't do what I love anymore. Like, you know, if you always wanted to be on Broadway, you should absolutely still try to be on Broadway when it opens. It's not, I'm a Broadway journalist, so it's not open right now, but it's coming back. If you always wanted to be an actress on TV or, you know, a director, we need people who are of the spiritual mindset in all of these industries, because all of the arts, those are our storytelling devices here for humans. That's humanity. We love our stories. That we storytelling is a huge, important part of our humanity. But when light workers say, oh, I can't be part of that because there's this or there's that, or that's not spiritual, that's bullshit. That's right. that's some 90s new age bullshit. Yeah. We need people. You know, it's just like what you were just talking. It's like, you know, yeah, I'm all spiritual and all that, but man, I can't wait to perform in an Irish pub again. That is the best gig ever. There is nothing happier and a little bit trippier than an Irish pub that on a Friday night. It is all happy. It's there. There's none of the pretension of if you go to a jazz club even, or especially a nightclub or whatever, or your trendy place, whatever. You go to an Irish pub. Oh my God, it's so down to earth, because these are people who learn to find happiness and pleasure and joy while being invaded and murdered by the English and whatever. That's, you know, all that history. But I mean, like, you think that because I'm, you know, I mean, I've always been a pagan witch, but now that I'm on the ascension journey, that now I'm all ascension-fied, that I can't perform. Hell no. I'm going to get an Irish band together. I'm going to record my Irish album, and then I want to tour the festivals. I can still get to do that. And the thing is that when I do that, and when I show my joy for music, my love for music and performing, and I put that on a stage, that energy radiates out, you know, that goes out to the people, you know, and I know that that's a very big part of why I'm here. I'm not going to give up music because I'm like, okay, I gotta, you know, be all spiritual now. That's not the way it works. You have your gifts for a reason. You have your gifts for a reason. Use them. Call them in from other lifetimes. You can go into your
As above, below. As above, the soul shakes its ass too. You know,
exactly.
I did my first open mic in Philly on South Street at this Irish pub. It was at an Irish pub, and it was balls, man. It was. I was like in the same energy you are right now, like the same energy we're having. It was just like I'm jumping in. And it was a blast. I had a great time. So you do Irish music?
Oh yeah.
So you want to give us a little taste of how about some Tura Lura Lura?
Oh, that's a beautiful song. But you know, I never got to sing that on stage. But what I will do is I'm not in voice to sing right now, but I would love to do that sometime. Do you play guitar, right?
A little bit. Yeah.
A little bit. Well, why don't we work up a song sometime and we'll do it live?
Yeah, that's cool. I've done that with people on this show before. We've had some good times with it. I did one with Sasha Grace, and it was very cool. We've done it a couple times, and then we have these open mics. I haven't had them in a while. Been kind of busy, but yeah. And see, that's what a lot of the Soulogy Fest is going to be. So you know, we've got 39 hours because there's 34 hours Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That's the paid gig. And then Monday's Memorial Day, and we have 5 hours at the Chocolate Tree Restaurant in Sedona. Ooh. We have the whole restaurant. That's free, and we're going to stream both, right? So let's see. There's about, I want to say 20 hours out of 39 are open stage. So there's going to be, you know, the gongs, there's going to be bowls, there's going to be drums, guitars, keyboards, flutes, you know, and we're going to have a bunch of musicians in and out and people coming up and doing whatever they want to do.
That's awesome. You know, that's one of the biggest hurdles that I had, because again, music is my thing, musical theater, opera, piano. I'm a composer and orchestrator as well. And one of the things I had trouble with is, well, how do I navigate the spiritual journey and be all spiritualified while still loving Broadway musicals and still loving, like, I want to compose for film. And, it's just like that. This is how you can experience multidimensionality with your multifaceted self and your multifaceted and multidimensional talents here. When I created my orgasm training program, AWESOM, Awakening Energy and Sound Orgasm Meditation, I composed the meditation track for it, and it's just like, oh, okay, this is how I get to do all the things. I don't have to limit myself. And, I don't have to try and be anything that's not innate and natural to. I don't have to try to be anything anyway.
That's right.
Yeah. That's
that energy.
Be.
Yes. It's a non-rehearsed, no, you don't have to put the spit and polish type of energy. And I think that's been my experience. Like when I woke up and then I got into the creative part of it, I did like 100 Soul Speak videos, and I think 95 were one take. And it wasn't because I was happy with it. It wasn't because, that whole perfectionist part of it wasn't part of that energy, because I could feel, it's channel. It's like you're talking about with the heart sacral, it's channel. And so you feel it and you put it out and you see, like you said, the energy go out and you see the receptivity, and then you watch it start to replicate, or maybe you're replicating. It's the same thing. But yeah, I think that's so important, because we've had, I think, about 7, 8, 9 soul gatherings, Soulogy gatherings, never a Soulogy fest. And they were all kind of impromptu, a week's notice, something like that. We've had, probably like 30 to 90 people. And we've always had that aspect. And some of the most incredible things, and most of it I have on film, but, it would be everything from somebody, there was a lady, Shakina Rose, my sister, she does harmonic light language, very angelic. And then there was Romeo Barron from LA. He does spiritual rap, and he's a badass. And they both got on together.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
They both got on together and freestyled. And then a lady came up from the audience and she started doing it, all 3 different light languages. Or a lady coming up and saying, hey, I didn't know I was going to do this, but this is such a cool atmosphere. I've been clean 4 years. I was 12 years a prostitute and a crackhead. Wow. I'm now with this beautiful divine masculine over here, and nobody knew her. Right. And then he got up and told his story. And then another lady got up and told her story. And so these moments are, to me, the spontaneous is so important. We're following the intuitive now. It's directing our lives as opposed to the ego. So the creativity is that sexual energy. I think it is our true nature. And yeah, it's pleasurable. We're supposed to do this. It feels good. And I think we got a lot going for us.
Yeah. And the thing is that Earth School was originally created, as I understand it and feel it, and I've asked my own higher self about this. She's pretty much embodied, but I still like to ask questions. Is that Earth School was our playground. Mm-hmm. Everything was supposed to be a type of Garden of Eden, and we were supposed to be able to create anything that we wanted. Like, this was like not just the soul's evolution, but just play, play and pleasure. And I can manifest, I can create, because I am a part of the ultimate creator, right? I am source within me, even as a soul, a little fuzzy light ball of energy, right? And so it's just like, then the non-virtuous assholes came in and said, oh, we're going to find that loophole in the free will, and we're going to usurp other people's free will. And then, we have, most of human history, and the other things that have happened in other aspects of life here on Earth. And it's just like, when you remember that, yes, we have the warrior templates, yes, especially if you're indigo, you know, we came in, we jumped in, divine feminine said, we're tired of being burned at the stake, we're tired of being raped, we're tired of domestic rape, we're, you know, and then that's just a man disciplining his wife, you know, we're tired of all the violence against women and the violence against children, we're tired of the violence against men in the name of patriarchy, you know, we're tired of this shit. Okay, let's go in and clean up. But the thing is that now that we, again, we've been in the trenches, now this is where we shift into, okay, wait, I can still do the work I came in to do and play and have fun. Yeah. And experience pleasure and experience love and experience orgasm. And when you understand that orgasm is actually the key to everything you want in your life, that's my next course, then you will understand that your work becomes easier because you're approaching it from the point of play, not from war. Warrior, yeah. I got to be a warrior. I got to kick ass.
See, that's interesting. Hang on a second. This is maybe a topic for another. So I feel very much about sensuality the way you do. The energy is the same. I'm a masculine, you're a feminine. What's recently happened to me is, of course, we've talked about the sacred sexuality interludes, and I just told you what happened. You know, we didn't go into detail, but you get my drift. So I'm seeing it from a totally different way. Now I've been with somebody who sees it like you. And it's like two different languages. Now, what just happened, which is kind of, I don't want to say contrary, but it feels like that maybe he's going another direction, but actually in the paradox, they're coming together, right? The feminine and masculine energy is that I get this download like about the sacredness of the male seed, and as a physical kind of a barometer of the energy that it actually contains. In other words, I was being told in layman's terms, like you only need to have like, you know, an orgasm a month. It needs to be in a sacred situation, because I understand now, I understand now that this is not just physical. I guess that's what I'm saying. I know. That's why I said we're probably gonna have to wait, because this is about learning.
That's a whole other show. Can we do that tomorrow?
That's what and I just want to explain myself, because I don't quite get it, but I don't give a damn what you say, Morgan, anybody. I know what I know. And I got this huge thing came in, and maybe it's because a lot of times I and others, we over literalize, you know, we explain and comprehend based on this place that we've been, not with what we have now. We all know that we wake up every day now, and it's a new truth, right? So you keep that in mind. But to me, it had something to do, and maybe it doesn't apply to the physical. Maybe I can come every day, right? But there was something about containing that seed energy, that creation seed energy, energetically within me. And I know, you know, you can orgasm it and bring it back into you and all that. But it was something about that. And it was more, and I'm trying to describe a feeling, an energy, a knowing that really doesn't have a physicality. And I'm looking at images. So for you to say what you said, I totally get that. And I'm just, you know, the math in this new environment is a paradoxical situation. You know, the language is different. The math is different. Even the geometry is different. That we're creating.
You know, 4 different topics. Okay, let me see if I can. Okay, so talk about different languages. The visual that popped up is when you're watching a foreign film, because you know, Americans, to us everything is foreign. If you're watching a foreign film and you hear the dialogue, but there are subtitles in English so that you can understand what they're saying, you have 2 languages happening at the same time that are literally saying the same thing.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
You know, it's just, you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. Oh my God. So we had this talk. I don't mean to interrupt you, but this is more pieces coming together. Okay. So I'm sure this will. So Morgan and I had this talk maybe a week ago, in the midst of coming out of all this energy and all the golden light, just like you were talking about. And I said, okay, something's clicked. And I said, you know what? So we're coming from opposite directions. And okay, it's like a cone. She drew this thing, and it's like a cone and a cone, like an infinity sign, but it's a cone. Mm-hmm. So you say you have the feminine over here. Let's just call her the galactic, right? and you have the masculine over here. Let's call it organic. And as you come out into the cone, it's the biggest part, right? So imagine coming from that direction, being more sensitive, women's intuition to all that stuff, right? And we're over here rooted in the root, very animalistic, right? And there's things I would look at her and go, how can it be so intelligent and miss these very human things? And then over here, she's looking at me like, you dumbass, why can't you get this? Because see, it was two different languages. And what I found in watching the dynamics of the last week of what Soulogy's been involved in with the Silent Sister Circle was that I realized, oh my God, this is a totally different language. And we're not going to be talking this language over here anymore. We're not talking from the root. We're not talking patriarchal, right? We're talking from this language that we might say is in the field of women's intuition. And so as I'm watching all this feminine energy, I realize a few things. And one is we're starting to guide our lives with the intuition now. It's not about masculine, feminine. It's about they were our link. Okay. And so it's a totally different, because if you look at women speak to women a certain way. A woman can say something to a woman. And it doesn't matter what the words are, because the woman that's listening knows exactly what that woman's trying to tell her based on her actions, words, and the way she looks at her and body language all night. You know what I mean?
The eyebrow. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we know that's
exactly.
Because that's an intuitive connection. And now that the masculine energy in all of us is coming into that place, as demonstrated by being in touch with their feelings and being, all that, no bullshit. Here I am. I show up really. But yeah, so this is interesting. Because it is all tied together, and I'm a big believer that the sacred, and I don't know what the right word would be for it, but the energy of the sacred sexual, energetic field, that sacred sexuality, it's much more than sex. It's much more. But its biggest thing it is to me, it is a physical representation, the core of our potential of our energy in the physical. And for somehow, some way, it's almost like we're going to be walking around lit all the time. You know what I mean? If
you allow it. Yeah. If you allow it. Yeah. One of the metaphors, what you were just talking about, one of the metaphors that it came to me in October of 2018. And this is when I really started to understand my twin flame journey from a more physical perspective of what the heck is going on. Mm-hmm. And again, it's amazing how my performing arts background really helps me understand this crazy journey. But it was like, I finally understood that if I've been cast in, let's say we're doing a show on Broadway, and I've got the lead because I'm the twin flame, so of course I'm the lead in my story. So I'm doing the Broadway version, but my masculine's doing the same show, but he's doing it not with me on Broadway. He's doing the national tour. We are doing the same show, just not in the same way, in the same place at the same time. You know what I mean? So I'm doing it in one way and he's doing it another, but it is still the same show.
That's why many conversations that you have with like I could say with Morgan, you get to the end of it and you're like, we're both saying the same damn thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And hasn't it been fun? Hasn't it been fun to go on that journey?
Absolutely.
But when you talk to the muggles, dare I say, give a label, when you talk to the average person, you can't have that, because if you're not going into duality and I'm right and you're wrong, I mean, that's where they're still stuck.
Yeah, it's a Mars Venus thing. Yeah, and the interesting thing too was that during this period that we all just went, that period you were talking about at the top of the show, our communication verbally was very little, but because it was straight intuitive, it was straight telepathic, it was very little confirmation. In fact, we had a couple of nights ago, we had a big day, another, and we knew that we were connecting because there was things happening, and we got on the phone. And I said, I don't even know if we need to say anything.
Yeah.
I mean, you just know it's weird. And we talked a little bit about it, confirmed it immediately. And we're like, okay, next one. Let's see what's next.
Yeah. Next. One of my Tantra mentors, she does couples work. And in one of their couples, one of their couple trainings that they do it in different days, like a day or a weekend or 5 days or 7 days. And basically you are making love the whole time. If you are not eating, well, but something besides your partner, if you're not eating, if you're not going to the bathroom and you're not sleeping, you are making love with your partner. And she and her husband did that for 21 days straight.
21 days.
21 days straight. They had meals brought in. And so, yeah, if they were not eating those meals, if they were not sleeping, and you can have sex while you're sleeping.
That's a very intense method, I'd say.
But can you imagine that, once you've had that, or even during it, you cannot have the same kinds of interactions with a person where you're keeping social distance, even like they're on the other end of the couch. It's like when you have that closeness in the physical, which is representative of the closeness we have energetically, because as souls, we merge. I mean, we defy Newtonian physics on a soul level. When we do our soul merge, my twin and I, we occupy the same space at the same time, which you can't do. But in sex, that's the closest way we can get to it here. When his penis is in my vagina, which is technically he's in my body, or whatever, it's just like, that's the closest we can get here. But that's a physical representation of what is already happening energetically if you're open and awake to that.
Right on. You got to go.
Yeah, I do. Darn it.
Well,
but I want to talk about. I do want to talk about this because what you said about you can only orgasm once a month and whatever is that. The way I split this up is that orgasm is energetic and it's actually a field. It's a dimension. Climax is the physical. So if you want to climax once a month, that's fine.
That's what I meant. You
want to make sure that your prostate is healthy along the way. Even the most ardent chi masters that I know still ejaculate about once a week or once every 2 weeks just to keep the plumbing healthy because you want that prostate to stay healthy.
No, I resonate with that. What I was trying to say aligns with what you said. I don't know if it's a month or twice a month. Yeah, there's definitely that makes sense to me. What I was saying is that, and you just said it. You just made me realize it. And it's not like I didn't know it. I just hadn't figured out how to say it. The orgasms that we're talking about, I've had, and I've talked about it, many of them, right? Like many, like even in a 10-minute period, female orgasms going off in parts of my body, whatever. But there is a difference. And
to Christy, who asked the question, climax and orgasm are different. I differentiate them.
Yes, that's a good point. That's what we're talking about.
That's what I teach. That is what I teach. And I have an orgasm training program that helps people transcend the physical, because a lot of people get stuck in the physical, and that's why they turn to porn and they turn to vibrators.
So let me ask you this. So in regards to what you teach, it sounds like it's the same thing. Well, maybe not the same. I don't know. But the same type of download frequency field that Morgan got, and others have too, but with the sacred sexuality, Hieros Gamos. But you break it down. I like the way you break it down. There is a difference between a climax and an orgasm. Because, I'm going to say this. There's a difference between a soulgasm and a climax. And if you're going to use the word orgasm as a standalone, it belongs in soulgasm category. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. If you're connected to that, but I teach a lot of muggles, and so I have to put this in terminology that they will understand, and a lot of them will not go to the spiritual side of things. Even though they like the idea of Tantra, they don't understand that Tantra is a way of life. It's not just sex.
Yeah, I think now that I think about what I was trying to explain earlier that started this part of it, I think what I was getting was, if I had to be more specific and try to say it now, is it was more of a like you said, it's a field of energy, it's a place, and
it's a dimension, right? That's how I see it.
It's a dimension, and if I could be wasting my energy, wasting my seed, so to speak, if I'm still engaged down here. I think you know what I mean. Like it leveled up in sanctity. It leveled up as a sacred. I understood, and I think probably, to be honest with you, now that I'm looking back in retrospect, it was the final. I concluded it, but the initiation was over, and it's been a long one, right? I mean, I just went into this, and actually, this actually happened the night that she left. The next day she left, right? And it was mind blowing, and we were both just stunned, like going. But then the download came after she got on the plane.
Right. But see, what's happening is that most people, when they have sex, are wanting that effervescent experience. And what you learn from the tantric perspective and what I teach and my orgasm training program is that you will allow that effervescence to descend down into the physical.
Yes.
We're so busy trying to have these physical experiences.
Yes.
Orgasm is your quick ticket to, well, the cosmic, mind-blowing orgasm, juicy yumminess that you're wanting. But you can't get there when you're still relying on the 3D modes of getting there in the physical, the porn, the vibrators, and the Cosmos sex quizzes or whatever.
The performance, it's
performance anxiety and the ego and the machismo, and I got to look a certain way, and I don't look like my Instagram selfie. Well, guess what? All of that's 3D ego bullshit.
Yeah, that's right.
You know,
it's like okay, we all connect. You got to go, but it's like when we are alone and we connect, meditate, whatever you want to call it, commune. It's the same thing. You're walking into this and you're going, this is fucking holy.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, it's reverent, you know? And so imagine starting there. When we think that's pie in the sky, it's not. This energy supports that type of initiative now. I mean, we're being supported.
That's who we are. That's what we're supposed to be experiencing. We're not supposed to be in the physical trying to have spiritual experiences. We are spiritual here to have physical experiences. And we were designed to have physical experiences that were full of pleasure and happiness and joy and creating and just the evolvement and the growing of who we are as master creators, master magicians, all of us, you know, but that got hijacked and sidetracked. And this is how we find our way back. But this is also one of the reasons, yes, I have to go, but this is also one of the reasons why institutionalized religion, all of them have shamed sexuality and have shamed women and shamed women who enjoyed sex. Like that woman who was a prostitute for 12 years. Don't you know she had some past life stuff she was trying to heal in that? And how dare anybody ever judge her for that? You know, it's like the prostitute archetype. We all need to heal that as women. And even men have to deal with the prostitute archetype because you sell your soul to go work for a salary and commissions and promotions to live in a certain house in a certain neighborhood and drive a certain kind of car. That's all prostituting.
That's right.
You know, anyway, that's a whole other show.
1:11. You finished that at 1:11. We'd been on 1 hour, 11 minutes, 11 seconds. So
because we're that good, you know,
more to come. Yeah. More to come. And we'll reach out to you.
Yes. Yeah. So
we'll reach out to you. Let's talk about, I'll reach out to you.
Yeah.
Somebody on the team's going to reach out to you and we'll have a chat.
All right. Yay. All right. Thank you so much. Love y'all. Thank you so much.
Hang on a second. What in the hell? Yeah. You can head out. I just got to, I want to hold you up. Hang on.
No, the universe is saying we will not stop this conversation. It just got juicy.
All right. Okay. Hey, we'll be back in like 40 minutes with, I forgot. Somebody's coming. Judy Godere. She's a client of Morgan's, and I think she's going to have a lot to offer. Yeah. That's all I can say. That's just what I'm feeling. See you later. Peace out. Thanks.
Y'all take
Enjoyed
care.
It.